My family over my wealth, part 2, beginning of a better life. Ada was amazed when she arrived in the city with Chinonso. The city was nothing like her village. Tall buildings stretched up to the sky, and the streets were filled with busy people driving expensive cars. Everything seemed so bright and full of life. Chinonso's mansion was beautiful. Ada couldn't believe her eyes when she saw the huge beautiful house with its tall gates and perfectly trimmed garden. The rooms inside were filled with expensive furniture and there were shiny chandeliers hanging from the ceiling. It was like a dream Ada had longed for all her life. At first, life in the city felt like paradise. Chinonso told Ada to relax, enjoy the luxury. She had everything a person could dream of: endless food, beautiful clothes, and a big TV to watch all day. Chinonso took Ada to shopping malls where they bought designers' clothes and expensive shoes. But as the day passed, Ada began to wonder why Chinonso hadn't shown her how to make money. She spent most of her time eating, watching TV, and shopping, but nothing seems to be happening. She began to feel like she was just sitting around while her family's problem back home continued to grow. Ada wanted to know how Chinonso became so rich. She was desperate to find a way to make money, but every time she asked Chinonso, her friend told her to be patient and enjoy the life they were living. "You are not ready," Chinonso would say, "but when you are, I will show you everything." The luxury around her felt nice, but Ada couldn't help but feel jealous. She saw how easily Chinonso and her friends spent money, and it made her want to join them. She began to long for the same lifestyle, and her desire to escape poverty became stronger with each passing day. One evening, after another day of shopping, Ada couldn't hold her frustration anymore. She confronted Chinonso in the living room, her voice shaking with anger. "Why did you bring me to the city if you are not going to help me?" she shouted. "I left my family behind, my sick mother, my starving siblings, and you promised me a better life. But all I'm doing here is sitting around, doing nothing. Why won't you show me how to make money? Why are you not helping me, Chinonso?" Chinonso stared at her for a moment, her face calm, before she finally spoke. "So you are really ready to do whatever it takes?" she asked, her voice almost teasing. Ada's heart skipped a beat. What did Chinonso mean by that? But she was too desperate to care. "I am ready," she said, her voice shaking with both fear and excitement. "I will do anything to help my family. I will do whatever it takes to escape this life." Chinonso smiled with a knowing look in her eyes. "Good," she said softly. "Get ready tomorrow. We are going somewhere. I will show you the way." That night, Ada couldn't sleep. Her mind raced with the thought of what might happen the next day. What was Chinonso going to show her? Was she really ready for what was coming? She didn't know, but she couldn't turn back now. She had already made up her mind. She was going to do whatever it took to make money, no matter the cost. The next morning, Chisom took Ada out of the mansion and into her car. They drove for what felt like hours, leaving the city behind and heading to a quieter, more mysterious part of the town. As they got closer to their destination, Ada's heart began to race. The house they arrived at was dark and eerie. Unlike the bright, lively mansion they had left, it looked like a place that didn't belong in the city. The windows were dark and the gates were tall and intimidating. The air around it felt heavy, and Ada's stomach twisted with unease. Inside the house, everything was dark and cold. They were led into a waiting room where they sat for hours. Ada grew anxious and kept looking at Chisom for reassurance, but her friend seemed calm, almost as if she had been here before. After what felt like forever, they were finally called in to meet the woman who lived there. She was known as Madam Queen, but Chisom called her Queen Mother, which made Ada feel even more uneasy. The woman sat on a golden throne, dressed in a long red gown that shimmered in the dim light. She looked powerful, and her eyes seemed to see right through Ada. Madam Queen looked at Ada carefully, and then turned to Chinonso. "Is she ready?" she asked, her voice deep and commanding. Chinonso nodded, but there was a hint of fear in her eyes. "She is ready, Madam Queen," she said, but her voice sounded unsure. Madam Queen raised an eyebrow as if she didn't quite believe it. "Are you sure?" she asked Ada. Ada's heart pounded in her chest, but she nodded, though she felt nervous. "Yes," she said, "I am ready." Madam Queen stared at her for a long time, and then a maid came in and handed them blindfolds. Ada felt a wave of fear wash over her. What was happening? Why did they need blindfolds? Chinonso reassured her, but her voice sounded different, almost cold. "It is part of the process," she said. Ada was scared, but she tried to push her fear aside. She didn't know what was about to happen, but she had already decided she would do whatever it takes to make money. They were led into a dark room where the air smelled of incense and something strange, like burning herbs. The flickering light from candles created shadows on the wall, making everything feel even more mysterious. In the center of the room stood a wooden altar, draped in a red cloth. The shelves around the room were filled with jars, bones, and objects that Adama didn't understand. A dusty mirror stood in the corner, reflecting the eerie stillness of the room. It was clear to Adama now that this was no ordinary place. This was a court, a secret world that she had never imagined, and was very disappointed in Chinonso. When the Queen Mother entered the room, she was dressed in a flowing red robe and a golden crown. She looked powerful like a queen. Ada could feel the weight of her presence in the room. Ada's heart raced as she tapped Chinonso urgently, her voice trembling with fear. "I don't think I can do this," she whispered, her eyes wide with terror. Chinonso, however, remained calm, trying to smooth her. "Ada, listen to me. It is worth it. You will see how easy and fast money will come." At first, Ada recoiled, horrified. "I can't. I just can't." Chinonso leaned closer to her ear, her voice gentle but firm. "Think about your mother's health, Ada. She is getting worse every day. And your siblings, they are about to be thrown out of school. You can't let that happen, can you?" Ada's tears welled up as she began to cry. "But what if Madam Q asked me to sacrifice my family?" Chinonso's hand shot out to cover Ada's mouth, silencing her. "In the chamber, we call her Queen Mother. Do not speak that name again, or you will face the consequences. And no, you will not sacrifice your family. I promise you that." Ada stared at her, confusion and fear mixing in her eyes. "But how can I do the ritual without sacrificing anything?" Chisom's lips coiled into a faint smile. "I said you won't sacrifice your family, not that you won't sacrifice at all." Ada was shocked, her face drained of color. "I am not sacrificing anyone, no, Chinonso. I am not sacrificing any human being, whether relative or not. I am not sacrificing no one." Chinonso laughed softly, her tone almost teasing. "You won't sacrifice a human?" Ada. Ada breathed a sign of relief, though her fear still lingered, unsure of what this new path would truly demand.